Let's get a bit of stand-up comedian action going on over here. No, what I wanted to do was today talk about false memories. But before I do, as I was setting the gear up, I was thinking about this guy called Mike, who was like a crazy New Yorker. And I remember when my OCD was really bad, when I was working nights, if anyone's read that story. And I used to go to the gym to work out. And I was living in such a clouded reality and a very surreal reality that I just wasn't living on this earth. I really wasn't. But one of the ways I used to try and ground myself was to do a bit of exercise. And I remember going to the gym and there was this New Yorker there. And it's funny, why I thought of it, I don't know. But he was, one day I went there and he was sitting on the fucking treadmill, right? On the edge of the treadmill. This is a true story. And he's going like, she left me. She left me. What does she want from me, huh? I work 25 hours a week and I blow a load on her every night. What she want from me? She left me. And he was carrying on like that, you know. And I can remember trying to console him and stuff. Anyway, the next week I go to the gym again. And he's there. And he's sitting on a fucking medicine ball, staring at the wall. And I thought, oh geez, this guy's really taking it hard. So I went over to him and I said, Mike, you okay? Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. I'm trying to meditate over here. Hey, Jesse, hit the treadmill, you fat bastard. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, if I just kick the medicine ball that he's sitting on, you know, but this is the type of thing that sometimes people have to deal with when they're going through severe OCD and any mental health problems. You still have to deal with people. And that can be very challenging. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to do this particular video was I wanted to talk about false memories. And in particular, because I seem to cater to a HOCD type of audience, I want to talk about false memories with regards to HOCD. Anyway, what I'm about to say is my own. I'm not really ripping anyone off. This is my basic understanding of false memories. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong by commenting in the comment section underneath. So, it seems to me that false memories can come two different ways. Either through intrusive thoughts or as a result of rumination. Now, say for example that years ago you went out to a club. Okay? This is just a crude example that I'm just throwing out there. You're sitting by the bar on your own. There's some guy 2 or 3 stools away from you, and you're having a conversation. And you either drink too much that night or somebody puts something in your drink, and you wake up 2 o'clock the next day with missing time. And you have a hickey on your neck, a love bite. And you think, hold on a second, the last thing I remember was talking to that guy. And now I've got a love bite on my neck, a hickey. And you think, what the hell, I must have met a girl last night. And you go about your life. 10 years in 10 years time, 5 years, 15 years, or whatever the HOCD, hits you. All of a sudden a person might have an intrusive thought. I slept with a guy that night. And, oh my God, what do I do? And the truth is, you didn't sleep with anyone. It's a twisted memory, because what you have to understand about false memories is they can be true, but they can also be partially true, which means that they've got little gaps, little bits of haze and fuzz in the memory, or they can be entirely fabricated. But the intrusive thought, from my understanding, will enter the person's mind that's either partially bullshit or totally bullshit. And the person then will start panicking. And then will begin the rumination. Okay? So, what's the best way to deal with that type of intrusive thought? Is the same way you would deal with any fucking intrusive thought, and that is to confront it, to sit with it, to allow it to be, to expose yourself to it, and not to do any compulsions. The RP and ERP, and that is to do the ritual prevention. Don't do any rituals. Don't Google. Don't reassure yourself. Don't avoid anything. Sit with a thought like you would, as if you would you were talking to a therapist, and, because it's what he would say to you anyway. Okay, so the next type of intrusive thought comes by way of rumination. This is my understanding of it. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm always open to new information. I'm not saying I'm the godfather of HOCD. I'm far fucking from it. I'm lower down on the totem pole, but, I have my own understanding. And false memories by way of rumination. Okay. One day you might wake up with a stuck thought in your head, an intrusive thought. What if I'm gay? Or whatever other thing goes through your mind. So you analyze the present. You do everything you do everything wrong that you can possibly do. And I've got loads of videos on this shit. Avoidance, compulsions, reassurance, the usual. But that doesn't quench your thirst. Oh no. Now you have to take a time-traveling DeLorean and go back in time in your fucking memory, and you're mentally reviewing the past. Mentally reviewing. And you think to yourself, oh my gosh, remember the time I went out and I was talking to that guy and I woke up with a hickey on my neck? And you run over the memory and 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 keep going and keep going and keep going. And what you're actually doing is you're rewriting the past. You're rewriting it. All those little gaps in the memories. You are actually filling in with your own assumptions, with your own conjecture. You're filling those gaps in. So, you might remember leaving the club with the guy. And it never fucking happened. I'm not trying to reassure anybody, and I'm not trying to tell you whether you're gay, whether you're not gay. You could be gay, I don't know. You could be straight. Whatever. But I'm just talking about HOCD and OCD and false memories and how I think it operates. So, as a result of rumination, you are literally reinventing the past. But some people will say, okay, Jesse, here's a question for you. What happens if the memory is true? What happens if I actually kissed my best friend in school? Right, okay, no problem. Again, I'm not telling you whether you're gay or whether you're straight. I don't know. I don't care. It's none of my business. But what you have to understand, to look at it objectively, is that people experiment. Okay? People experiment with all types of things. You could experiment. Maybe one day you want to be an astronaut, and then the next day you get bored with that. Maybe you did kiss your best friend, but maybe at the time it was meant as a joke. But in your memory, the false memory is telling you it's not a joke, and it's evidence that you are actually, in fact, gay. This is what it's saying. I remember back in the day, back when I was a teenager, I had loads of buddies, but there were two in particular, right? Case and Chris. They were a pair of fucking idiots. I'm not going to lie, right? They were very funny, incredible womanizers, right? I had to learn game in order to have any success with women. I had to learn pickup. They were naturals, right? And, you know, I mean, I even saw a case, he'd literally walk up to a girl and he'd go like this. And she'd come towards him and he would just start kissing her. He was an incredible womanizer. But anyway, where I'm going with this is those two fucking idiots, Chris and Case, they would literally pretend to shag each other. We'd all be hanging out in my bedroom, and you know the way teenagers are, cigarettes, beer, all the things that are bad for you. And one would have the other one's legs over his head on the bed, and he'd be doing all this, he'd be pretending to fuck him. And they'd be laughing, and we'd all be laughing. We'd think it was hilarious. He had his knees, you know, back at one point by his ears. And they were like Merry and Pippin from Lord of the Rings. They were just a pair of nutcases. But they, years down the line, didn't go questioning what they were. They knew they loved women. But of course, they didn't have HOCD. But the point I'm trying to make is they didn't look back at that memory as evidence that they were gay. This is what people do. People screw around. So, to cap off, you got false memories by way of intrusive thoughts, and you got false memories by way of rumination. With intrusive thoughts, you treat them the same way that you would treat any intrusive thought, and that is exposure and response prevention, in particular the response prevention. So how do you deal with the rumination side of it? You deal with the rumination side of it by choosing not to ruminate. Choose not to ruminate. Look up that guy, Michael Greenberg. I am not saying I agree with everything that he says, but he's definitely onto something. And rumination is a compulsion, okay? It's analytical thinking, which means it's within your control. So stop trying to figure out, you know, the memory, because really, when you're going back in time, what you're doing, that is uncertainty raising its ugly head. It's not content with analysing the present. It now wants to analyse the past. But it's, again, it's uncertainty. Learn to live with the uncertainty. And one of the ways to live with the uncertainty is not to do compulsions. Okay? And rumination is a compulsion. So anyway, I just thought I'd add that in there because I know people on my Facebook group have spoke about memories. And, you know, just to cap off, I'd like to say, you know, false memories can sometimes be a very distressing thing. I mean, Maria, one of the girls who I actually did a video on, before she developed HOCD, she actually had a memory of killing someone. She thought she killed someone, and she was totally convinced. Almost like, you know, you get these people who drive along and they get to a certain point and for some reason they have an intrusive thought that convinces them that they hit somebody like 2 or 3 miles back. So they'll turn the car around and they'll go back, and this memory seems very real. So you know, in this case, a totally fabricated memory. But of course, I think where the false memories get really tricky is when there's partial truth to them. Like talking to that guy I said earlier at the bar. Yes, you could have been talking to that guy at the bar, but just because you got a love bite on your neck, that doesn't mean that you actually slept with the guy. You know, so it'll take truth, and it's almost like as if your brain says to you, well, that bit's true. So that missing piece that you've now added conjecture and assumption to, that must be true too. You know, this is what happens. And for the case of real memories, people might have a real memory, but they'll assign a different meaning to it. For example, kissing your best friend in school. Maybe it was just a prank. You know, as I said, I'm not saying that you're gay. I'm not saying that you know, you're not gay. I'm not saying any of that shit, right? I don't know what's in your head. It's impossible for me to know. And before I go, and I really am going to go this time because it's, what is it, like 2 o'clock in the morning, I want to say that you need to go to see a mental health professional. Watching YouTube videos is all very well, but it's not a substitute really for actual, you know, going in there and seeing somebody privately. And guys, it's been a pleasure, and I will talk to you soon, very soon. More is coming. Take care. Bye.